I came in, saw something, I was like, oh, I can't sit there.
Can you hear us? Yeah.
Yes, I can.
Okay.
On live?
I marked mine.
We on this?
Steve?
Yes.
Since it's so. Steve.
Yeah, Jeff.
Steve, are we available?
Yesterday at 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that week, yesterday, I would have done.
Steve?
I thought, yeah.
Here we go. All right. A lot of excitement today. Last meeting of the year. Let me call it to order. Meeting of the Albany Water Board on December 19th. It's 9 o'clock. Three of the board members are present. James Roselle is sick and excused for our meeting. First order of business is to call for a reading of the minutes, but I'd like to get a motion to not read the minutes and approve them as they were submitted. So moved.
Second.
Oh, thank you, Rachel. And so glad you're here. All in favor?
Aye.
Good, motion carried. We don't have anybody from the public here. Bill, do you want to introduce Kevin? It really needs no introduction.
Yeah, Hogan from Arcadis is here to talk about our 5-year capital improvement plan and as our official consultant. So each year we update this because we come up with new engineering reports, new estimates, new applications for funding. And documents what's happened over the next year. And our case gives a water board of authority a report card.
A report, yeah, essentially, yes. Always do very well. You're one of our best students. So I'm joined today by Erica Van Altice. She's one of the authors as well of the report, and so I wanted to bring her down and just see how this see what the process is and join in on the fun. So again, I'm Kevin Hogan from Arcadis, and we do a revolving 5-year capital improvement plan, and this plan that we put together for the next 5 years, 2026 through 2030. So next slide. So this is very familiar to many of you, but you know, I'll go through just a quick summary of what we do, so that in case that for folks that are new here. But basically, we're reviewing the.
Can I interrupt?
Yeah, go ahead.
We need to go around the room and introduce everybody. Because we're live on video. So I'm Chuck Hogan, chairman of the board.
Rebecca Calden, supervising engineer for the water department.
Bill Kahn, rate consultant.
Jody Davini, water treatment plant facilities manager.
Will Simcoe Deputy Commissioner.
Sarah Terrell, Human Resources Generalist.
Steve Mercier, marketing communications.
Hi, police constable accountant.
Laura Golfo, council.
Chris Powers, director of physical operations.
Justin Shivabine, operations manager, water department.
Kevin Hogan, Arcadis.
Becca Van Altice with Arcadis.
Anthony Owens, treasurer.
Camera system.
Joe Coffey, water commissioner.
Rachel, you're up.
Rachel Johnson, board chair.
Thanks. Now you can go ahead.
All right.
Sorry for the interruption.
No problem at all. So we look at the assets and facilities at a high level. Basically, we have a team of folks who go visit with staff and talk to staff, look at the facility, see what the projects are, see what has been completed in the last year, and if they have any concerns at the facilities. And so we have staff that go to the Furbush treatment plant, go to Loudonville Reservoir. We select different pump stations each year to talk to staff about. And so we go through and have these discussions, and then discussions with Bill as well, and Rebecca this year, and Katie. And That's what we use to go through and develop this report. So next slide. So the structure is first we do a description of the facilities and assets, provide a condition assessment based on what we've observed, and then summarize the recently and completed projects. So this also is it really documents, we had discussions in the beginning, when we were starting this with Bill, like how far when do we stop calling, showing the projects? Then we decided, well, this is a good document just to kind of keep the information going so you can go back and look until something is completely redone. Like with Loudonville, you had the UV equipment, it was completely redone. So we'll take off some of the, that it was the original dates where the equipment was installed, because you don't really need to know that, but just it was recently updated and you had new equipment. And so there's a table with each of these projects that shows the years that work was completed to kind of document that and go back and look at that information. Next slide. And so I just want to go through quickly some of the projects for 2025. What has Albany Water Department been working on? And so at the filtration plant, some of the larger projects, they're completing the liquid line and maintenance building, aeration building, rehabilitation. The fluoridation system is in place, and I think early 2026 is when that's starting up, right? Always there's pump station rehabilitation each year, focusing on different pump stations, whether it's controls or new generators or any type of updates that are needed. There's always sewer repair and water main replacement. And this last year, 14,000 linear feet of sewer was lined, and you're always going to have breaks and water main to replace. But in addition to that, there's also a study to look at more of a systematic review and repair of your distribution system piping. So that's something new for this year. Next slide. So lead service line replacement program, that's a hot topic for a lot of communities right now, or all communities that are older that have lead services. And the city is about 25% done with their replacement. They did 725 lead service replacements in 2025, a goal of 1,000 for 2026. And in addition to that, to decrease the corrosion or put in some corrosion resistance, Loudonville reservoirs, adding liquid lime to increase the pH to 9.2, which is the same as Furrobush treatment plant. And so that'll help to reduce the corrosion in the lines. Next slide. Another neat program with technology is the city is now doing continuous distribution system leak detection on their hydrants. I mean, it used to be you would see a leak coming out of the ground, and that's how you found that you were having a leak. And so now they have 662 sensors on the hydrants. They have 77 miles of detection, detected 82 leaks this past year. With this system, as well as with some manual technology as well, going out and investigating for leaks. They repaired over 45 leaks, tested 30% of the city, and I know they plan on extending this further. But this is the type of, and that's generally what it looks like. You just have this sensor on top of the hydrant, and then you have a mapping system that tells you where you have some potential issues, and then the team will go out and investigate it further and find those leaks so that they can be repaired. So it's great use of technology and forward thinking in order to reduce the amount of leaks in your system. Next slide. So Appendix A provides a budget for the year. So it's broken out 2026 to 2030. So the first 2 years, 2026, 2027 are generally, you have more detail at this time. So what projects you're going to be working on next year or the next 2 years. And then as you go out, it's more just a projection that there's a project coming up and there's a general budget number, and that's going to get fine-tuned as you get closer to that date. And so it provides a description of the projects, and the source of a lot of this is grants or through financing. Albany has done an incredible job with the amount of grants that that they've received. I mean, we work with a lot of municipalities and you guys are really ahead of the curve on getting free money. Good job on getting the free money, Bill. Hats off to you. And 0% financing. So you're in a good position there. And so it has, yeah, so the total budgeted for next year is 31 million, which is approximately what it was for the last year as well.
How much of that is not funded by grants? Do you know?
I don't know off the top of my head. I think if we looked at the spreadsheet, I think it provides that information, but it's a mix between grants and state revolving fund, 0%
Yeah,
financing.
the ones we're about to close on, the 20 and the 21, commenting more sizes of, $10 million of grant. Used to, financing, so. Yeah.
All right, next slide. Appendix B provides a summary of the engineering reports that were developed that past year. And that helps, in the future, when you're trying to figure out, well, I know there was a report that was done, we were working on this project, you can go back and get a summary of what the report was, when it was done, who did the report. That helps to maybe find that report if you need additional details. I'll just summarize the work that was done and what Albany Water Board is thinking about for upcoming projects, because usually you're going to have an engineering report and then it's going to go into design and then construction, so that it helps to understand what work is in progress. And so some of the projects, there's the rehabilitation of Basic Creek Dam, that's at a 90% design report. There's water main replacement engineering report, as I was discussing before, and the North Hawk and Orange Street porous pavement stormwater management report. In addition to that, for Appendix C, we have Arcadis assisted with an asset management program years ago, and as part of that asset management program, there's a table that lists the goals, different projects that are goals, and key performance indicators for completing those goals, and it provides a status update of where you are in that process. And as certain things are completed, that it's shown there, and or it'll show dates of when it's anticipated to be completed, because there's a lot of them are many step process, takes several years to complete, and so that information is summarized in Appendix C. And then one of the main parts of developing this is for us, like as that third party, providing that report card, as Bill was saying earlier. And it's it's that high level look from a third party saying, are you doing what you should be doing? Do we see anything that's like, oh, your plant's falling apart, you really need to be investing more in the plant, or in your sewer system, or pump stations are falling apart. So this is a high level look, and basically we provide this certification each year. And I'll just read it. It's with the undertaking of this CIP and with regular maintenance undertaken by the Albany Water Department, is the undersigned opinion that the present level of water and sewer services can be maintained for 5 years covered by this program. And we're signing that again. I think you guys are in good shape.
Yeah, and as official consultant, they signed off on when we do these closings on our fund meetings, so we'll see. See official consultant, so.
Any questions for Karen? Kevin, or okay? This is a lot like going to the doctor for your annual visit.
Yes, it is.
And Erica, what I'd like to thank you for all the work you've done. I just want you to say, is the patient healthy? We're going to be all right.
I think you're gonna be just fine.
We'll be fine. Okay. Thank you very much. Good. Okay, Merry Christmas. Thanks. for
Yeah.
Merry
coming.
Christmas.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kevin.
You want to-
You guys will-
Yeah, okay.
A lot of work. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, no, thank you very much. Yeah, it was nice to
Maybe
see
someday we'll
everyone.
Fix the Basic Creek Dam. Someday. Next on the agenda is Bob Haynes, and he's not going to be here. We were going to vote on resolution to pay them, but you have to consider that.
Yeah.
Keep that in mind when you
That's right.
think about not
Right,
coming.
gotta make sure that you show up.
Chris?
All right, happy holidays, everyone. Thank you.
You too.
Yeah, we're gonna, do kind of an abbreviated summary, given some of the circumstances. Just one thing, Bill, look, just the question that you had before with respect to CapEx. We would make an assumption of 100% is going to be covered by grants or financing. We're not in the period that we are now, we shouldn't really be taking out any projects, fluoride, like in Part 1 or aside, that would have any draw on our cash. That's sort of the goal. Now, whether that's reality, that's a different story, but that's the plan is to not come out of pocket.
And there is a cushion there, but
We have
not much
cushion,
of a cushion.
not much, as we're trying to grow that cushion.
Right.
That said, there are things that I think that we used to do in operations, our sewer normal operation maintenance, water operation maintenance, that was done out of operation, that we borrow for now, so that's also something we're trying to change. As of right now, it should be 100% grant and built to do.
Although we did have matches that we have to do for some of the grants.
Yeah, but sometimes if we're financing as well as. We're using the financing for the local share. And I think that,
Right.
I think it's-
And then the next piece here, again, we went through in detail with the finance committee yesterday. All I'm gonna say, you guys have the package, you can review it. First page, I'm just gonna say, from a cumulative standpoint through, November of 2025. Our revenues are 36.6 million, $4.6 million higher than prior year. And our expenses are $32 million year to date through November 2025, and that's also $4.6 million increase from prior year. That's going to start to equalize in December. We get a lot of charges from the city. It's workers' comp, retirement, benefits, things of that nature. That'll make those numbers start. We're not for profit, right? We don't have $4 million of profit, so those numbers will start to equal at the end of the year. So, anyway, it's still a strong story within our budget expectations and within our expectations from our rate hike from the prior year. So, that is it. You guys can review the packet. If there's any questions, you can let myself and Arif. Thank you.
I have a question. Do you have any sense of where we're going at the end of the year on revenue? Can you address?
Yeah, we should be, we budgeted about $42 million of revenue, so we're on track for that. And the expenses are gonna be about that as well. So the goal is trying to get a little leeway.
Expenses are 41 million.
Ultimately, it's gonna come up to that when we get to the end of the year. So, yeah, well, overall, it's
including debt service.
Gonna include debt service. Accrual base is not cash. With debt service. Yeah. So, otherwise, we like that to be different, but we typically, we budget also for our expenses to equal our revenue as well. Cash basis, that equals out as well. So, but yes, it's in line with expectation. Our budget for 2026 is going to be about 44 million. So we gotta, we should come in around $42 million revenue.
Yeah, to add to that, this is the first year since COVID that we're gonna be on budget.
Yep. Yeah. So it's
Do you want to say anything on the tax roll in Paris?
Sure, tax roll, so it came in, $5.1 million is what we're rolling over to the property taxes at City Hall. That's a record by about $1 million, about $1 million. It was almost 4 million last year. So for those that aren't overly familiar with that, we do a cutoff at the about October of every year. And you say that anyone who's owing us money at that point gets rolled to our property tax, and at that point, the city collects that money. We get a benefit from that. That tax roll offsets certain costs that roll through this due to from account that we have. A lot of the workers' comp, Medicare, things that roll through there. That haven't hit yet actually on our income statement. So that's a positive thing. it's the right direction and, you know, it's something we rely on, you know, from year to year. And, what's the thing, a Paris update, that's our, we're up to date on that. That's something that's been, really delayed, for us over the past couple of years. So we're up to date as far as we possibly can be, on Paris. So that's good.
Yeah, Paris is the New York State Authority's budget office requirement for public development side.
So we put our annual financial statements up there, our staff, our compensation, our vendor spend, any number of other administration questions that they ask on that whole cycles, things of that nature. So it's a bit of an administrative task, and it's taken us a bit to get to where we are. So that's good news. Both on the financial board and the water board. That's where was not updated before.
Any questions for Chris? Rachel, I know you don't feel well, but most of us in the room are feeling better because you were sick, we were able to persuade Chris to keep it short. Hang in there, Rachel. Bill Kahn, you're up.
Okay, I will try to be short too. You know,
Let me give one of those to Rachel.
to pass out the document I'm going to talk about. And, you know, what Kevin was just talking about and the certification is that's the engineers. That's their opinion on what's going to happen with projects. And then this effectively is the numbers. And the whole thing is to protect the bondholders. That's why they have to do a certification, we have to do a certification, and so that the bonds are paid. And I'm going to quickly go through this. There's a summary on the first page, and if you were to look near the bottom of the page, the projected debt coverage ratio number is about 2.1 to 1, compared with 1.56 to 1. So you have to be at 1.15 to 1, meaning for every dollar that you have in debt service, you need $1.15 to cover that. So I'm going to quickly turn the pages and then come back to this one, and it should make some sense. So the next page, Schedule A, is simply the budget, and it's shown comparatively for a 5-year period. Our budget for the year is 39 million. That was approved by the city, and you can see that 5 years ago that same budget effectively was 34 million. You'll see some huge increases in the county sewer contract and the taxes, but that is our approved budget. Schedule B and Schedule C are the budgets for the board and the authority. The member stipends are the principal cost in both. Again, B and C, the authority has more members and also additional responsibilities relating to paying trustee fees. And so that's why theirs is a bit higher. We turn again, Schedule D, this is a summary of debt service. What I'll call the big bonds at $1.8 million, that is what these certifications are all about. But we also have a lot of EFC or SRF bonds. They're about 2.3 million. And then we have some other items, which I'll talk about, of about 800,000. Schedule D1 is the detail behind what we just saw. So again, on the top of the page is the 1.8 million. We make two interest-only payments on the 2021 A bonds, on the 2021 B bonds. We make interest and principal payments. They're made semi-annually, but we have to fund it to the trustee on a monthly basis. And the number, we simply divide that number by 11. And that's the number that you'll see, 74,000, 96,000. In the middle of the page are the EFC, primarily the EFC notes, a total debt service there for 2026 is about $2.4 million. And you'll note the good part of looking at that is that there half of those have no interest payments. So there's some huge savings there. On the bottom of the page, you'll see the Cohoes IMA and the Rensselaer IMA, those notes, but you also see 700,000 in other items. That principally represents what we believe to be the 2026 closings, which will require debt service in 2026. So that's an estimate, but that should be a pretty close estimate.
And when that ends next year, right? At the end of it?
What end?
How long do those payments go on the last?
Those payments will go on for a long period of time.
They do go, okay.
In fact, I think in early January, am I right? There's three closings.
When we, on our short-term financings, we do have some principal payments. And, like with the 18-523, there'll be a principal payment before we close on the long term, so the short-term notes have some principal that we pay.
Okay. So Schedule E is, it shows the flow of the funds. So substantially all, but not all of our revenues come through the lockbox. They go into another account, and then from there, on a priority basis, we're required to fund the debt service on the big bonds, which is all the way to the right. So if, and this has not happened, but if there was a crisis, a financial crisis, and we didn't have money to fund the city or the board member stipends, we still have to be able to fund the debt that's in yellow on the right. And those are the numbers we just looked at. Moving from right to left, there's an ongoing projects fund, which is not required to be funded, but to the extent we can put away $100,000 every month, that says a lot for the future. So there have been years that we've not been able to make that, but hopefully we can do it in 2026. Moving to the left, you'll see the city account. This is somewhat complicated, but you'll see that many of the months have the exact same number, 2,048,416. There are 5 months in which those numbers are higher, in some of those months substantially higher. For example, if you look at October, it's $4 million higher, and that is because that's the month we pay the sewer contract. We also pay the other half of that in April, so you'll see that those numbers are identical there. In January, we pay the property taxes. That's why it's about $500,000 higher than the other months, and we pay the school taxes in September. And then in December, we pay the city a number of things for retirement payments, for health insurance, but also including the $900,000 we pay them in the overhead fee. So that number is 39,000. What we are going to try to do is, Chris mentioned that we had a record-breaking $5.1 million in the rollover. The city doesn't recognize that until the property tax bills are sent out, which would be in January. So we are going to try to get them, well, one solution is we just don't pay them January or February. But I think the fair way to look at this is that we take that $6 million that they don't pay us back on, and we reduce each of the months by perhaps $400,000 or $450,000, whatever that number might be. And tried yesterday to have a meeting with Ken Bennett. When I finally found a place to park, and I was told that Ken only works on Mondays and Tuesdays, and I think Wednesdays. So next week I'm going to visit with him about that. And then to the left of that are the board and the authority funding that account primarily for stipends and for other bills. Which brings us back to the front page. So our revenue estimate, Chris just mentioned that, and again, let me just say 25 and 26 is on, there's two columns. So Chris just mentioned that we're going to be around 42 million for 2025. These are the budgeted numbers. So it says a lot that we were able to not just get to budget, but we got to the largest number we've ever come up with. 26, the budgeted number is 44.4 million. We're going to have investment income of about 500,000. And all these numbers are in the approved budget by the city, if you were to look at that. Our system operating expenses, net of capital expenditures, is about 34 million. We have the board expenses, the authority expenses, and then the calculation is really very simple. It's the net of the revenues and the expenses, 10,729,000 is the numerator. The denominator is the debt service, which is 5.1 million, and that comes out to 2.1 to 1, which is really pretty good. So I'll just pause, take any questions.
All clear. I hope we have a good meeting next week. That.
Okay.
You want to mention the rate increase? And report on the meeting.
The rate increase of 7.5% is well, you want to talk about the
We had a
hearing?
public hearing last night and no one came. Good. And that's all there is to say, really.
Right. The 7.5% was the recommended increase. That makes this budget work. And I assume there'll be a vote on that today.
Yeah. Any other questions for Bill? Thanks, Bill, very much. Let's go to the staff reports. Joe D, you want to start?
Sure.
Just so everybody knows, you have no idea how hard Joe and the other staff members have worked on this. So,
Good morning, everybody. I'm gonna be passing this out in a minute, and I apologize in advance because the rain ate it this morning. All right. So I'm gonna talk about the strategic planning team and what we've accomplished in the last basically 3 months since since starting working on fiscal year 2026. Go ahead and go to slide 1. So in 2025, I came and presented to all of you. And really through 2025, we worked with the senior staff, not necessarily a focused strategic planning team, but we used 2025 to really identify who that focus group was. And the focus group, what it really does, condenses complex ideas into core essentials. And by identifying the truly highly engaged, it allowed us to develop a team that's become truly efficient in this process. And I think that's why we were able to get through this in really in 3 short months. Why develop a one-page plan? Again, it condenses complex ideas into core essentials. It lets us focus on what truly matters. And it also helps different teams identify their true value. As everybody knows, we have a number of different teams, divisions, and this one-page plan allows teams really to identify what is unique to that division without creating silos, but what they do for the overall picture and the utility. One-page plan should be simple to share, simple to read, and simple to understand. Coffee brought this idea to this group really 12 years ago, and the initial development of the one-page plan. There's been times I think he would tell you that it seems like the group fought in the development of the plan, just in returning the data that really should be captured here and being a part of this. But these are extremely important. And it's really what we're here to show you the plan that we're going to use for at least the immediate future and going down the road. This plan, I do want to say, we've really used Joe Coffey's template. You'll see that we've made some very minor format changes, but I think those changes were really made by the consensus of the group and how the group both read the old plan and how they wanted to see the new plan read. It doesn't read much different. There's just maybe some core essentials that we wanted to look at based on, again, consensus of the group. One-page plans are not full business model plans. I think everybody knows that. They shouldn't be. They're faster to create and update. And they allow for a focus on execution rather than somebody taking a look at a full business plan and looking at the entire plan for a full business case for the utility. They drive action. They act as a concise roadmap, linking day-to-day operations to long-term goals, KPIs. And by working through this, a one-page plan, I think everybody in here knows, rather than a typical business plan, these are more of a live document. One-page plans and working through the plan annually just keeps the plan from becoming dusty. They ensure shared understanding of the divisional direction, values, and objectives across the entire department. Again, these should be used to try to eliminate silos throughout the department. And I think when you see the process of how we got to where we are today, we used common themes across the department, and that is the idea in eliminating silos. One-page plans make it easier to adjust strategies quickly in response to industry changes and transitions, emergencies, completed projects, and our overall goals. So here was our process. Meeting 1 took place October 16th. That's literally when we got started on this one page this year. So I think you can see how quickly this came together, basically 3 months. Today's December 19th. So this came together really quickly. The first meeting, we really brought the focus group together. It's basically everybody in this room, myself, Rebecca Calden, Bill Simcoe sits on the team, but helped us really at the end, didn't sit in till the last meeting. Justin Schiebelbein, Chris Powers, sorry, Chris didn't. And then Chuck Houghton sits with us, and the reason we really have the chairman of the water board there is for some direction and guidance, but also to be that conduit back to you folks in the board. Meeting 2 is when Joe gave us the directive to develop the one-page plan. Joe has typically collected that data, developed a strong man, given it to senior staff really to review, and then debuts the plan to you. We're going to do that today based on what we've gathered and how we formatted the plan. November 24th, meeting 3. We reviewed open action items. Basically, we were just kind of checking ourselves, making sure everybody was on task. And then the last meeting was only December 3rd, so just a couple weeks ago. We had the plan together. We stayed late. We populated the plan, and then we gave it to Joe, Bill for review. And I'll give the team a pat on the back because we had no changes off of what was populated. I think anybody knowing Joe as a reviewer and editor, I was pretty proud of that. So, so here we are today.
He's mellowing it.
All right, so I'm gonna pass this around. I apologize again. I do not have enough copies, but so please share. I'm gonna go through this quickly because I think everybody really has a good idea. Needs to show that the last slide real quick. So those of you who have experience with Joe's, it's all the same. It's all the same. Who do have experience, and we all have experience with Joe's one-page plan.
Let me give one to Rachel and Anthony.
The again, the format has only changed slightly, but I just want to go through quickly for those of you who may not understand a one-page plan. What the group identified was these really should read left to right when you're looking at the plan itself. You're looking at our real high-level stuff, our core values, our mission, and it goes from something very broad to something very acute or very focused. So we're filtering down those again, broad core values, mission, vision, to then the 3 to 5 year stuff, our 3 to 5 year goals, and then it gets more focused in a year. And then again, more focused in how do we get there? These are the current items that are actionable or what we're focused on. So again, left to right, very broad to very focused. Yeah, and I'll show you kind of what we have. This is what you're taking a look at in the one-page plan today. Again, left to right here is that our core values, our mission statement. This is very, very similar again to Joe Coffey's one page and the way that it was formatted. This stuff does not really change unless you go through a chartering session and kind of rebrand your facility or your business. This does not change. You'll see this annually unless the board or a new commissioner or administration chooses to recharter. Going again left to right, these are our current trends. So again, going from broad to more focused. What are our strengths, weaknesses, our opportunities, threats, operational health, the financial health. One note that I looked at, and those of you who may know, one page is better than I. Financial health on a one-page plan, we do have this down here in this very corner, because it's become kind of a focal point. But the financial health is not really a key factor on one-page plans, just so everybody knows. They should, financial health should always be a very small statement in a one-page plan. We do have the KPIs again. These are the numbers that the group really wanted to take a look at. Bill was actually had a lot of input here. We wanted to make sure that the KPIs were actionable and were measurable. The one big change that we do have, vehicle operating costs. And again, this came from Bill and actually the chairman. Rather than looking at hours used, we're gonna have Chris's group work with Frank Arquino and look at what the cost of ownership is for the fleet by department and by vehicle. Questions like, do leases make sense versus purchasing? Is the EV program truly cost effective? You know, there's a number of reasons why we're going to EV, but how do those numbers really work out? So we want to look at, again, metrics and give cost of ownership. There is this stakeholder section here. We wanted to really look at employees, customers, and then potentially the debt holders, maintain sufficient debt service coverage ratio. I think every board meeting that we've sat on since the strategic planning team started sitting in here, we talked about the debt coverage ratio. So we felt that that was important as well. Again, focusing now more on the right side, these are current actions, current departmental goals. Mid-plan here is that, quarterly, 1 year, 3 to 5 year out, again, very, very broad to very focused. Here's what the department goals are. Here's how we get there. If you're reading through the plan. Any questions for me? I apologize for going fast, but probably wasn't a lot of this much time. Any questions about the plan? Any maybe things that the way that we got here, we talked to every division leader, and to populate the plan, what we did was we took all the notes from every division leader, and that included actually our HR component, our special projects component. We spoke to customer service this year as the public facing division. And then we took all of that data, all of those notes, we compared themes. We found the common themes across all divisions, and that's what we populated the plan with. There's going to be people that will always look at the plan and say, my stuff's not in there, but truthfully it is. And it's, you don't look at a one page as division specific goals. It's not that project where we're replacing doors at the plant. It's that project that's going on at the plant that affects utility. So, any questions?
Thanks, Joe, very much. Now we've got to implement. Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, so just to briefly touch on what we've got going on in engineering, we did get the winter 2026 lead service line replacement project out, involved a few different people from our team so that the transition from Katie will go a little bit smoother. So we try to get, partner knowledge on several people so we can kind of team up as we get into the lead service line replacement season. Worked with engineering yesterday for the future streets that we're gonna be covering with that program this year, so trying to roll that real quick to get into 2026 for lead service. Water plant work continues, hoping to finish aeration, lead line maintenance, and fluoride early next year. Working through some challenges. Been really happy with our new project manager, Thomas. He's been great and is helping us out at the plant quite a bit. And is gonna actually be involved in some of the lead service line replacement too. And then going into 2026, we have several stormwater projects that are teed up to go. Gonna be doing more lining projects. And one of our biggest initiatives as we staffed up was to get some of our site plan review and permitting processes a little bit more documented, better process, between all the engineers and getting site plan reviews completed back to the city quickly and with a lot of accuracy. So that's been going well with the addition of new people. Ezram, the new engineer, has been working on standards and some things like that as he waits for he'll be working on a lot of the stormwater stuff as he waits for those projects to come into play. We're just waiting on approvals and stuff. So he's been helping us with standards. Other than that, I think that kind of covers what we're up to for the next year, and then putting the new engineer position is up on the website. And I don't think we've had time to even get responses yet, but hoping that we see some folks, because things were improving as we took away the residency requirement, and I think the market's getting a little more fluid for engineers, so hoping to get some good responses there. But I think that's all.
Any questions?
I had a chance to talk to Bill Dupuy last night at the mayor's thing, and I think he's really got the buy-in to the engagement with us on the lead replacement as part of their contract work. I suspect that will continue. He's agreed to stay in the city engineer until March, till they get a new city engineer. So I'm hoping that I suspect that Mayor-elect will chat with us a little bit and about the city engineers, when those folks are shortlisted for interviews. I think that's something we should encourage her to ask about and get a commitment from the new city engineer on continuing to work with us, not just on the lead replacement, but on getting green infrastructure in their street projects. So I think that's just something we need to.
That actually, it shows up in the one-page plan.
Yeah, and I had
That-
had a brief conversation with Dorsey, and I suspect I'll have several more moving forward, and I'm gonna keep promoting that with her
Okay, yeah, that's excellent, because that relationship has built
recently.
quite a bit in the last year, 2 years, probably.
Yeah, we just need to sustain it.
Ezram's gone to a couple meetings now. I've been to several. So I think Katie's been the real champion for that, because lead really helped drive that home to them, but they are starting to see the broader picture that, green infrastructure or stormwater wants to show up more, and we need to preempt their projects better, water and sewer wise as well. Trying to get some analysis of those streets as they come to us, so it's been a better relationship there, and one that we hope to build on as we move into the next administration, so.
Justin?
I'll be a little brief. Obviously, winter is starting. We've already started getting some increase in main breaks. So we're kind of preparing for that transition. Our big thing this month was we went through a lot of our maintenance contracts. We have 2 that are gonna be going out for bid in January, so I'm sure you guys will see that at the next meeting. And we're gonna renew the rest. We did review all our MSAs for engineering services as well, and that's something that we made a decision on, so.
That's a resolution for today.
Yeah, so that'll be coming up. We have a big transition with Mike leaving, so we're looking to try to post those positions for our assistant operation managers. As soon as possible, probably have that in the next, by January 1 for sure, posted, so.
When does he actually leave?
Don't have a date yet,
March or May.
and it'll be early springtime, I think, so it'll be pretty early 26. So we wanna make sure we're ready for that transition. I think, he has brought a lot to the department over the years and will be a loss, but I think we're ready to continue, and we have staff to step into some positions to help with that transition, so. we're looking to do the transition while he's still here for that purpose. Any knowledge that needs to be transferred, so. Other than that, I'm all set.
Any questions? Joe?
Yeah, Amy, I just want to note that Amy contributed to your one-page plan. She's not able to be with us today, so. Can you pull up the KPIs, the PowerPoint and the one pager? Please. So we've had these, I'll do the KPIs first. We've had this KPI dashboard up for quite a while and these are kind of legacy issues. We always had, these are just graphic illustrations of Chris's financial reports on the first page. The second page is going to be more operations maintenance, and third page has some other data. But I think when you look at this information, obviously we're going to show some slides later. We had a pretty good year financially, but go to the second page. We report you go down a little bit further. We report these, keep going. We report these activities a little bit. This is really the reflection of our guys that are working out in the sewer and T&D area, which we don't really talk about too much. But you look at the level of effort, the number of projects we do, it's really reflected in that information. And then one thing that we go back and Kevin talked about the asset management plan. And go ahead to the third page. The asset management plan, when you look at a lot of the KPIs we show on the second page of repairs, that's going to help us identify where we're getting a lot of challenges and threats into the infrastructure. And that this page is really more, what are we doing to, kind of protect those assets? And I think moving forward, the group needs to link the KPIs that we're looking at to the asset management plan a little bit more directly. We're not really doing that. And I think some of that is looking at preventive maintenance. And I think you talked about some of those in your meetings. And the same thing should go on the KPIs on the financial stuff is what are we looking at to link these key performance indicators financially with best practices in the utility industry. I think it's something that we want to look at. Kevin talked about the lead leak detection with loggers. And I think we actually had updated that information. We had last month's information. We had 770, almost 780 of these sensors on hydrants out of 3,500 hydrants. And we've detected 100 leaks at this point. And these are the leaks that aren't surfacing. These are underground, so we're not really seeing the leaks, but we're hearing them. And we've repaired 52, probably more than that now. So we're at a point now where we almost don't want to find anymore because we have so many leaks that we've got to catch up on. We don't have enough assets. And we're getting into silly season. The main breaks are coming up. We're still trying to do lead service replacements and now the leaks. So the challenges are there.
Joe, can I speak to that real quick? Just most of those leaks, just so you guys are aware, are service leaks we find. So, they're usually on the property owner to repair, and it also helps get our lead service replacement numbers up because those are lead services that are being replaced with copper. So
Scroll up to the top of this page.
Those are cumulative, Joe, across the leak detection. That was cumulative across left to right
What do you mean?
on your,
spreadsheet.
No, that's current. That's what we found to date. So I
Yeah,
guess that's, yeah.
cumulative.
If we didn't find that much every month,
We didn't find 100 this month.
Oh,
We
God
found
help
100.
us.
Yeah, I was gonna say, because I was looking at it going, that doesn't make sense.
we would, which I believe, Lord, if we had that,
Panicking too.
we'd be taking the things off the hydrants. Let's go to the top. Oh, top of the third page, I'm sorry. Having an apple up, I think. You just go down to third page. And stop right there. One of the things that we were highlighting, when Bill and I first got here, we were producing about 7 billion gallons of water a year, somewhere just north to south of that number. Last year, I think we were about 6.1 billion. This year to date, we're about 5.5, 5.6. We may be lucky to get to 6 billion gallons this year. We've been looking at, we do our 8 o'clock operations report. We've been looking at 12, 13, 14 million gallons a day, which is like, holy, wow. We've never been really consistently producing numbers that low. And it's not so much that the consumption is necessarily down. We think a lot of that reduction is we've taken care of some leaks in the non-revenue water that's exiting the system. We do have some variation in consumption when the weather's kind of off. We're not ordering lawns and doing stuff this time of year. I think it's just kind of a number to look at a little bit. Let's go to the PowerPoint. So this captures, we were doing this report to the mayor's senior staff meeting every month. And we've been since it has so much information and condensing it was a good report to share with the board next month. These are just summaries that we had. We're about 95% of budget on the revenue. That's year to date through November. So if we roll 5 million and you kind of look at that as billings, accrued cash, and whatever normally we would collect, that number is going to be north of $44 million in 2025. And Chris, I guess I got confused when you thought the year-to-date expenses were going to be 41 million. It doesn't really show that. We've accrued, the cash has been 32 million this year. We've already paid our sewer bills, stuff like that. So I'm thinking that's going to be maybe.
Yeah, a lot of things hit in December, the second half of the
Yeah, I
month.
mean, Bill's summary budget shows 35 million too. So
Yeah.
we're not going to get the debt service number if it's 41 million dollars in expenses, we'd be screwed. So I think we're going to be closer to the budget this year at 38 million, whatever, than it was 35, 36 million. So it's a good year in any event. The Lincoln Park Learning Garden, we suspended that for the winter. Most of the grading and site work is done. The classroom building will come in probably April, I'm guessing. And so we've been telling people that part will probably be active mid-year June. Pretty much will be looking the way we want it to look. And the people I spoke with last night that are from the Lincoln Park area, they're excited about it. So it's going to be a great finish to Lincoln Park. Now that the pool's done, and now we're going to finish this side of the park. All good. Fluoridation project, the saga continues. We are hoping to get that done by the end of the year. Then it was January, now it's February. Now I'm not sure what it is, but it's important that we get a date certain because the health department wants to advise the pediatricians what that date's going to be to stop prescribing fluoride supplements in the water. So as Rebecca pointed out, we had a little difficulty. We're playing a little more direct communication with the contractors, potential bonding company to get them up on top of stuff. So I think Joe and the management team have done a great job. We kind of challenged them back. I'm leaving at the end of the year. Bill will be acting commissioner. They'll be posting for a new commissioner that's already been posted up. Talked to Dorsey about that last time. We'll kind of help her screen some of those candidates. So I hope you have that conversation with her at some point as well. But I'm pretty confident that we got the right folks in the right places. A lot of that one-page plan really is an outgrowth of Jim Collins' Good to Great. You know, we've got servant leaders sitting around the table. It's not about them, it's about the people they work with. And, you know, we talked about the organization, the culture. I think we got that in place. The core values, safety, customer service, professionalism. I think we've achieved most of that without training people in the Good to Great Jim Collins methods. But so I think when we look at the things that we've got going on, you look at the execution and performance. One of the concepts of Good to Great is the flywheel. You know, you get the flywheel turning. Right now, the flywheel's turning. So it's not that it has to go faster or slower. The momentum is there. The plan that I think you put together, there's no comment on it because you did it the right way. You built it from the ground up. You got the input from everybody. And so those core values are still there, you know, and I think the silos are broken down. You can see it in the interactions within the department. And that's a challenge just to continue it. We got the right people to do it. So I think we're in a really good spot. Let's go to the next one. That was well, again, so the one-page plan that we talked about, the mission, it's that big arrow. That's the defining of the direction for the department, the flywheel. That's the North Star, the big arrow for the department. And the little arrows are us, you know, to get them aligned. And you want all the little arrows to be going this way. You don't want them going that way. If they're going that way, they need to go. That's part of your performance evaluation. You get with the program, you need to go this way. Is Jerry Jennings stay right, Bill? So that's I think important to kind of get that, communicate that one-page plan to each of your departments and have them understand. Everybody needs to be going in that direction. So it's not replacing doors at the plan, but what am I doing every day to make sure I'm aligned with what you guys want to do in your different areas? Yeah, this shows kind of the last figures of water production. And you know, this is, you know, COVID kind of knocked us a little bit. Bethlehem and Gilderland don't draw the required, you know, the pay, use it or lose it stuff, so they kind of came out. This is probably the new normal of what we're gonna be looking at for our water production. And, again, we look at this production consumption that's using land, go back and forth, but. So I think we're kind of looking at the new normal. I'm not sure I would be tracking 6 years of this moving forward. I think we're looking at maybe the last 3 years might be helpful if we just kind of monitor that. Next one. Next, so we'll go. So this is kind of an interesting slide because I looked at, you know, the impact of the rate increases that we started back in 2020, 1920, after not having doing them for 4 or 5 years. In hindsight, that's on my mistake. We probably should have had 2.5 to 3% increases every year from the time in 2014 on. To your point, baking it in the cake, have it as an annuity. So now we're starting to see that annuity, I think, kicking in, even with some of the lower production and consumption. We're getting some pretty big numbers for our revenue and our billings. My advice that I would leave is keep an eye on this one a little bit, to be more consistent with the non-personnel expenses. I think we put a lot of money in personnel. We've got staffing levels that are probably more where they need to be now. We've filled a lot of vacant positions. Again, I think that's a testament to relaxing the residency requirement. We're getting a lot more applications in different areas. My one caveat on that, Justin, and I think I've mentioned this to you, is that we could probably look at how productive we are in some of the work that we do in the field. I'm gonna get stuck in that. I've been stuck on that for a long time. And I just think that we need to look at, that's a potential area that we can be more efficient moving forward. So I think we need to keep an eye on that. That would be my challenge. But that's a pretty positive trajectory. And we know we're gonna get some organic growth in consumption with nanotech. I'm thinking, you know, even though we're moving some of Wadsworth from one part of the city to another, I think it's gonna be a bigger facility. There's probably an opportunity there for some growth. Other things we're doing on the campus, with the new construction, that's gonna help us with consumption, and that's gonna help our large users. So I think we're moving in the right direction. I think they talked last night that, maybe they put 5,000 apartment units or residential units in the city. You know, we're over 100,000 in population, so there's gonna be some organic growth in water consumption, which is only gonna help us on this one. Next one. Again, this is a testament to the work the board's done. They've given out almost 1.5 million in grants, operating money, lead services. This is I think the impact of working with engineering on a lot of the projects to get delayed, and that's been Katie, you know, a lot of Katie, but we're gonna miss Katie a lot. But again, it's about the flywheel turns. We got the people on the bus, move the person, to put the odd person in that seat on the bus, and we'll keep that continuity going. Next one. We actually had, our safety contractor was due up this the end of this year, so we RFP'd it. We got a lot of responses on the safety consultant. So we're gonna recommend we continue with the consultant that we had. But Justin and I looked at some of the other responses and proposals. There's a couple of consultants that I think have potentially some value added for us that we could actually bring in on an assignment to talk to us about high level safety measurements and trends and things that we can look at capital safety, and our team could execute that plan. So I think a fresh set of eyes on our safety program from 10,000 feet would be helpful. And so I'm just leaving that with you and the safety committee to look at, and with capital safety. I think there's some value added proposition there. Sarah tracks us every month. I think we're kind of steady. Let's look at the next one. This is our dashboard. You know, most of the threats and the more difficult are sewer and T&D. You know, if we can get them over a year, try to get no accidents or lost time in a year, that would be quite an accomplishment. What we're finding is that, you know, somebody gets out of the truck, slips on ice, gets a concussion, you know, it's situational awareness. Some of the injuries we've had in incidents with lost time are newer employees that are, you know, maybe again, situational awareness, not familiar with what they're doing. We've had a couple of people have been with us for a long time. you know, we're not as young as we used to be, and so we get a lot of strains and those types of issues, which cause injury and lost time as well. So Sarah, I think if we keep tracking that and, you know, kind of share that with the safety committee, actually post that, Justin, that the committee is helpful. We're not trying to discourage people from filing an injury report, we're just gonna show them, you know, hey, we're doing pretty good, but we can do better, you know, so. Is that the one we had? Well, let's look at one really quickly on a one-page plan. So actually, Joe, I like the format that you have now, I think it's a lot better. The format on the one-page plan that I brought up from. That's the one that we probably have from course I took in 2005 or something, no, it goes back way too long, that. There you go. So a lot of what we had, this kind of blow up a little bit, and I want to just. This is something I think we probably haven't spent as much time on. We really asked Brian, under our chief of security, to kind of look at this bill. This is something that, from a facility-wide thing, I think we need to take another look at. We're not quite as hardened here at this facility as we'd like to be. The property is wide open, unlike DGS, which fences us. We don't really secure our building. We secure this part of the office pretty well, but that area is a little out there a little bit. So we gotta take a look at that in the long term. One thing that they suggested we do is put a panic button in the reception area. We need to do that. That's something that's still left there. Steve is, I think, starting to work on some of this employee recognition. We gotta find ways to do that. It's nice to get people on attaboy or attagirls. The difficulty is, how do you incentivize people when you can't bonus them and you can't financially reward them? So there's perhaps some way that we can work to get a vacation day or something like that added, when we can get something as an incentive. One of the problems you're gonna have with the fleet study, as far as costs, getting fuel costs, DPS doesn't track those. It's not uniform. So that's frankly one of the biggest expenses we're gonna have is fuel costs. If you don't track it, I'm not even sure every vehicle, they know how many gallons of fuel to use. But sometimes they'll bypass the pump and you don't get the data that you want. That's been a challenge for us to try to figure out how do we look at what the curve is to threshold to replace a vehicle. So that'll be a more difficult task than you probably thought it was gonna be. The one big challenge that we had, which we set up for the fourth quarter, is slow down. So, Chris, I think, did a great job working with ARP to get the budget issue is probably the best one we've ever had as far as comprehensive, linking things to the expenses to where they need to be properly located. We've got to do more with breaking out Beaver Creek because that's a shared operational cost with the poor communities. And we're trying to discern and break these down a little bit more in discrete groups, make those expenses. Great job on you guys this year and getting the para stuff done. Woohoo! You know, that's the big.
Joe, can I make one comment now? Because I meant to make this comment probably 2 board meetings ago. I made it to Chris post board meeting that, like I said, 2 ago. But to Joe Koff's point, Chris had made the comment that we really got very focal with the budget in 2026, and we were going to move forward running lean. I think you guys have heard that comment lean a couple different times now. I don't necessarily agree with that, and that was my comment to Chris. We're not running lean moving forward. The goal is to continue with infrastructure rehabilitation. I think the more accurate statement is we're running true.
Right.
What Arif and Chris did in 26 was spoke directly to division managers and really made us look at actual expenses, actual chemical costs. Can we get numbers that are more true and on budget rather than, you know, bringing forward and actually from Joe Coffey's directive as well. In 2025, we will not be bringing numbers forward into 26. Be very focal, look at your budgets and true the budgets up. And I think that's where we're going.
The implication, and what Chris is really talking about, lean, it's a true number, because if we have fat built in the budget, you divide that by 12, we gotta wind up giving that money to the city to cover expenses that we likely will never incur.
Oh, that was the impetus.
So that was really the basis behind it. And I think when you look at, and Chris gives his report every month, that last page where RF and Chris have brought that, here's where all our money's going every month. That's spot on. That's a big, good tool that we've got that we never had before. So kudos to the finance and accounting guys. You got a good staff, finally got it staffed up, and you're kind of hitting it pretty hard. I think when we looked at, from the fourth quarter, Matt Schramm is working on the space plan. We posted a position for a senior utility billing clerk. Where's that person gonna sit? So we're doing some space planning, which we will probably aggravate everyone. So everyone will be aggravated equally. I'm gonna wind up in a place where everybody's gonna have a home, a place to sit. I think we'll wind up, this is where I can almost do it as a parting shot, so everybody can be mad at me, but I won't be here. So, but I think we're gonna wind up in a spot where there's a little more functional relationship with where people sit and who they're interacting with and the things that we need to do. So you won't be that unhappy, but we'll just aggravate everybody a little bit, a little further down. And so here, Justin, you want to talk about this a little bit where we're looking at Springbrook and the GIS, this one here?
Sure. So we went through Springbrook at the end of this year. We are looking to try to integrate that with a lot of our programs. We think it's gonna have to be done on the back end with, obviously some engineering services from their staff. We wanna integrate Springbrook with Utility Cloud, with Ava at some point if we can, which is our inventory software that's still rolling out. That's one of our Q1 rollouts, actually. I think it's gonna be very difficult. We have a lot of programs, we have a lot of different methods of technology that we use here. Getting them to communicate with each other is not easy. What that also involves Beacon. So I think we know that Springbrook has more capability than we've been using it for. And I think we can, I'm working with Paul to try to come up with a master list of every address in that we can coordinate that with Utility Cloud, because that'll help with our field reporting, being consistent across the entire.
So at some point, do you really get to, and this is for your group to figure out, at some point, do you try to take all these disparate pieces of a puzzle and try to put them together when the pieces don't fit? Or do you buy another puzzle? So I think that's something that you need to think about. If we have somebody calling in to dispatch and they don't have customer information, they gotta ask customer service for something, or it's just like, what the, there's better ways to do this. And we've been talking about it for too long. We need to do something about it. So I think you're the right guy to help, coordinate in getting the solution for this, and it needs to happen sooner rather than later.
And a lot of that is Springbrook's been pretty locked down here. We're finally starting to expand some usage of that, and there's
And I think
more security profiles in that than you can.
Yeah, and I
imagine.
think the other,
Only.
what I'm seeing is old habits die hard. And we need to have our customer service people and our metering people, we need to go digital. This issue of getting paperwork orders, and it's like, I mean, I'm older, but I can use a tablet. So we need to get everybody on the same page. They gotta go digital. It's just quicker, it's more efficient, and that will help us ultimately do this. Because right now, we're just not working on the same thing. They have these same tools that we provided them, but they haven't used them. So that's on us to make sure that happens. So this is my last meeting, and as I told Chuck and everybody, this has been a great board to work with. And when Bill and I first got here, the professionalism of the board's a little bit different now than it was before, and that's not a pejorative comment to the people that were here before. I think it just shows a better working relationship between the staff and the board. So the board folks are great. I had a conversation with Bill Kelly last night and Marissa. We talked about, when Bill and I were here, the first 10 years, we had 12 assistant corporation councils work for the water board. So I think we're kind of in a better place now working with Laura, who went from assistant corp counsel to the private sector. It's worked out very well for us, but
You really are mellowing. I went to the meeting with Joe and Bill when we talked to Kelly about having our own council. And he almost came across the table and attacked Joe. He was.
Well, we
taking
had
revenue.
two highly opinionated Irish Americans. And but the better part of that is we did that, but we've been golf partners for years playing in the mayor's golf tournament, so he can't golf a squat. Being a judge hasn't improved his golf game. But in any event, I think the staff that we got, when you look at what we've done in engineering, broaden out the engineering talent. Operations, I think, having Justin, raising up a little bit, we got the right people in the right seats. You've done a great job down at the plant, Joe. And I went down to the plant's Christmas party last week, and you kind of managed by walking around. And you can see the culture at the plant, how healthy it is by just talking to the people in the different areas of the plant. And that's a testament to leadership that Joe has brought down there. Remember the first time Bill and I interviewed Joe, Skype or a Zoom interview? I'm thinking, he was down in Florida. Yeah, people look bigger on TV. You wouldn't see. I thought I was talking to like the Hulk. But he's delivered right from the get-go and just a great person to work with. And he's big, but he's soft. He really is. And I think again, Sarah and Karen, the work that they do to support the things that Bill and I have been working on, it's just much more professional now than it was before. So we're in a good spot. So that's it, folks. Thank you.
Go
It's your turn.
I'm gonna interrupt the agenda. And I really have such mixed feelings. I'm sad you're leaving. But you're leaving a place in so much better health than it ever was.
We have a good team.
Just wonderful. So the board and Laura and Bill have a little thank you gift.
Oh, thank you.
You didn't want anything, so we did it anyway.
Well, after the first of the year, when we get back from our holiday, you're buying dinner. Thank you. All right, Mr. Bill.
Bill, I think we ought to just submit this, given the time. We got a sick board member. You happy with that?
I'm happy with
He's
that.
watching TV in my office.
And, yeah, as opposed to the people here that have worked with Joe for 12 years, I worked with Joe for 22 years. So I should get something for. Thank you for your great leadership.
You had a lot more hair back then too, Barry.
I had a full head of hair.
And so did I when I started working.
I'm just saying, I came here with no hair.
All I have is my hair left, that doesn't look good for me.
And Frank in the motor pool, he's starting.
Point, Joe. When I came here in 2016, I came here excited because I left Florida, kind of at the top of the S curve, capital improvement program. You guys were really just getting started. You were 2 years in. It was an exciting time to come here. I'll speak to a small group at the table as well as some of the other division managers. It was an easy buy-in to the culture that you brought to the department. It was exciting to be part of this, at least 10 years of the last 12. It was easy to come in and want to be part of this. So I told the other day, I appreciate the mentorship. Appreciate your leadership and your trust as well. And your friendship as well. Thank you.
When we first got here, I went down to the plant, I'm going, holy crap. I didn't want to bring the mayor down to the plant. Because of just the physical appearance, not so much inside, and you go down here, I can't wait to bring people down here now. I think it's just the facility and walking around the inside, the control room, just the excitement, the interaction with the folks down here. So it's like that with the whole department.
It really is.
So I think we're in a good spot. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. Laura?
I can actually come this way and
All right.
read the resolutions and do my report. I might just make sure Rachel can hear me. Sorry, Joe.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, that's good.
Okay. My report is very short. I guess we were gonna cover it. It's on Commissioner report here, the National Grid easement over 160 Delaware Ave. This is a resolution that's before the board today. This is an access right-of-way easement that Bill and I have been working on with folks at National Grid. They got us an appraisal report for the area that they'll traverse and the easement area. That came back at 27,200, so it'll be a one-time payment to the board for that access. This is a permanent easement. There are a couple of other easements in the area, but we checked into those to make sure that it wouldn't conflict. And it doesn't. This is really to support their Ellesmere substation, which is integral for folks like me who live in Delmar. So in any case, that's a resolution for the board. It's part of my update. And if there are any questions about that, happy to chat about it, or we could do it at time of resolution. The second item is the board training. All should have gotten an email from our city, HR. You saw, hey, on time is still, on time. So December 31st is the date to complete those trainings. If those have already done it through another employer, you can sign an attestation as well. So
That's what Rachel did.
yeah, oh, great, okay, so that's good. And Mr. Coffey has left, but I was gonna also say something, so I will save it for later.
Any questions for Laura? Steve, speaking of the right person on the bus.
Yeah. Slides still up. All right. You say all the time, not putting on stuff. Okay, so this is really a year of review, kind of a temperature of what we've done throughout the year here and a lot of the outreach that we've done. As you can see from our social media side of things, we started to get with other departments, started to do a lot more sharing. So that kind of helped pump our numbers up throughout the year. So our most shared video is Give This to Kevin. It was when the pool opened up. Obviously, I had a lot of people around it, but it also allowed people to see our department. So by cross posting with other departments, we were starting to see our numbers grow, which helps us communicate our message out further and faster. So those are all good things. Most viewed post obviously was with Eric. Most 1 minute views was the Spectrum News about the wife's breaking down that I did with Rafat in the lab. That was really a lot of fun. And the most viewed video was the cartoon that I made with the No Wipes in the Pipes, with over 40,000 views throughout all the platforms. That one was actually fun. It was about a minute long, and it's just fun to talk about poop. Let's just be honest, right? We're all 12-year-olds inside. So huge success, however, though, was the local Water Matters Day. I want to give a big shout out to everybody that helped with that. But had a ton of views, a lot of engagement. Things like that will continue to happen. We want to make sure that we get as many people that have a voice to help, bring those dollars into our department so that we get that free money, right? And to make sure that people are aware of how important it is that we are doing the things that we do here so that we can fund those projects in the future. Community engagement, local water day, Tulip Fest had a big presence there. I will see more of that coming up. Partnership with the library, our water quality report, the water bar was a huge success. That was a ton of fun. I can't wait to do it again in the coming year. Got in front of the libraries. I was there at the Play Streets events, just really engaging with the community, educating on them that, hey, water does not come from the Hudson. It actually comes from a protected source, and be surprised at how many people still think that. Continuously doing some things with other groups around. Also, the Act Now Albany is the sustainability group that Jason West heads up. And it's a really great program. We're starting to do some more things with them on that. Okay. And then this is just our look ahead. So these are my 3 pillars going into next year. So going to focus on some emergency communications, create a playbook with you all and try to make sure that we have a good proper workflow if and when something does happen. Regulatory risk communications through lead safety, the lead service line, communications and templates, trying to be able to streamline that communication and make it easier to be able to push out more faster, because we're going to want to make sure that we're
On top of things, as we transition from Katie, we're gonna have some new people around. We want to have kind of an all hands on deck with that, to make sure that that gets on out. Water quality report, obviously, that's gonna go through a revamp. Coming up this sort of comms on rollout for fluoride and regulatory. And then community engagement, right? There's going to be an annual events calendar that I'll be creating, and I'll try to post up on our website. Ambassador program. I want to try to bring some people from other places, whether it be in the community, with other departments or something like that, just to kind of help spread the word. Spring to Spigot classroom package. So when I first came here, Joe put in front of me the Spring to Spigot video that Alex Ashby did. It's really a great video. It's very detailed. Alex and I are sitting down and we're working with the Albany High AP environmental science teacher and trying to work on a curriculum to kind of package this up so that he can use that in his class. We're hoping to be able to scale that to other areas across the school district and just to from K through 12 sort of thing. Lincoln Park schools also. Correct. Yeah. So basically what that's going to do is it's just going to be a spot on the website so any school can go to it. They can click on. It's going to be a day for a teacher to kind of plug and play. If they're a K through 3, they can click on the K through 3 link and it's going to have their curriculum. They can show the video and then they're going to be worksheets, answer guides for those teachers to be able to just grab onto and be like, great, I got a full day's worth of stuff I can do. I can do it real quick and I don't have to really think too much. And it's going to be like that through K through 12. So that'll be across, any group can grab onto that. The Lincoln Park Learning Garden signage and curriculum, that's going to be a kind of a very similar thing. Those signs that we've get from CHA, they're going to have little QR codes on them. We're going to bring people back to some lessons as well. And we're going to kind of replicate what we're doing with Spring to Spigot. So instead of the video, it's going to be the walk through the learning garden. They're going to have a pre-walkthrough set of worksheets. They're going to have the learning garden, and then they'll have a post exercise for those students as well. And then obviously social media, newsletter, and continuing on with the Proud program. So that's my next year. I'm hoping maybe I can get a little help with that one, but that's my ambitious plan. Anybody questions?
One thing that we talked about before, and it kind of could go for community engagement and also on some emergency things, is we talked about maybe thinking about buying a kind of a water tank that we could fill water bottles. At some of the events that have like Tulip Fest and things of that nature. And the other use could be if we have a main break and there's an extended loss of service, we're bringing out cases of water. It'd be better to have something like that out in the field where people could fill their own jugs of water up at some point. So it's something maybe to think about, Bill. I don't know if there's regulatory things that we'd want to make sure before we went out that, we did a back T sample, chlorine residual, things of that nature. But I've seen other places do that. And, are we big enough to justify that expense? But it's something to look at.
Yeah.
I know it would really help our water bar, at Tulip Fest and the things that we do, the Freihofer run and things of that nature.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of people and a lot of water bottles and it helps promote tap water. So something to think about.
Yeah.
Put that in the capital plan.
One big plan.
But yeah,
Thanks, Steve.
thank you. Yeah, thanks very much.
We have any reason for new business?
We have an executive session that we need, but you can do that after resolution.
After the,
Yeah.
all right, Laura, you're gonna do the
Okay,
resolutions.
sure. Let me do that.
Sure, it's fine, we go right.
Starting. All right. This is resolution number 2587, resolution adopting the 2026 water and sewer rate schedule. Now therefore be it resolved, the Water Board 1 hereby adopts the attached 2026 water and sewer rate schedule. 2, directs that this resolution and the 2026 water and sewer rate schedule be available at the Water Board offices at 10 North Enterprise Drive, Albany, New York for public inspection. And 3, directs that this resolution be published in the Albany Times-Union within 30 days of adoption pursuant to the Public Authorities Law, section 1115-I.
I move approval. May I have a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Rachel? She there? No.
She's not up.
Oh, good. Okay, oh, you're back. Good.
Aye.
Carrie, thank you.
It doesn't adopt.
Adopts. 2026. Okay. Resolution number 2588, resolution adopting the 2026 summary budget and transfer document. Now therefore be it resolved, the Water Board hereby adopts the 2026 summary budget and transfer document prepared by UHY advisors dated December 2025.
I move approval. I have a second.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye. Motion.
Resolution number 2589, resolution authorizing and appropriating funds for the backwater valve grant program in 2026. Now therefore be it resolved that the Albany Water Board authorizes the extension of the backwater valve grant program through December 31st, 2026, and authorizes and appropriates up to $100,000 in grant awards for calendar year 2026.
I move approval.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Resolution number 2590, resolution authorizing and appropriating funds for the lead service replacement program in 2026. Now therefore be it resolved that the Albany Water Board hereby appropriates monies in the amount of $500,000 to fund the lead service replacement program for the calendar year 2026 and authorizes the Department of Water and Water Supply to continue providing financial assistance through the reimbursement grant program and support to those homeowners eligible for the LSRP.
Move approval.
I'll second.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Resolution number 2591, resolution adopting the 5-year capital improvement program covering years 2026 through 2030, prepared by Arcadis, dated December 2025. Now therefore be it resolved that the Albany Water Board approves and adopts the 5-year capital improvement program for years 2026 through 2030, prepared by Arcadis, dated December 2025.
Move approval.
I'll second.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Resolution number 2592, resolution awarding contract to Arcadis of New York as official consultant engineer to the Albany Water Board. Now therefore be it resolved that the Albany Water Board awards the contract as official consultant to the Albany Water Board to Arcadis of New York, Inc. for an initial term of 1 year with an option for up to 3 additional 1-year term extensions.
I move approval.
I'll second.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Resolution number 2593, resolution awarding master service agreements with various consulting engineering firms. Now therefore be it resolved that the Albany Water Board hereby awards the RFP and is authorized to execute master service agreements with the following firms whose proposals are annexed hereto respectively. Barton and LaJudas as Appendix A, CHA Consulting as Appendix B, CPL Architect Engineering and Planning as Appendix C, Schnabel Engineering of New York as Appendix D.
I move approval.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Carries.
Resolution number 2594.
New York for design and permitting services for the rehabilitation of Rensselaer Lake Dam in the amount of $45,350.
Appendix A, and agrees to compensate Schnabel for the work contemplated by the contract amendment proposal, inclusive of supplemental activities performed under tasks 3, 4, and 5, as set forth in Appendix A, in an amount not to exceed $45,350.
And it was good backup on this, so I'll move if we approve it.
I'll second.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Mhm. Resolution 2595, authorizing extension of master services agreement with CT Mail. Now therefore be it resolved that the Albany Water Board hereby exercises the 3rd and final extension of the term of the MSA with CT Mail.
I move approval.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Resolution 2596, authorizing extension of agreement with Colliers Engineering and Design, formerly known as Bergman Associates Architects, Engineers, Landscape Architects, and Surveyors, DPC, for the provision of professional engineering services on a task order basis. Now therefore be it resolved, the Albany Water Board hereby exercises the 3rd and final extension of the term of the agreement with Colliers Engineering and Design for the provision of professional engineering services on a task order basis.
I move we approve.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. The next one, I would like the honor of reading.
Good, because
Resolution 2597, authorizing the extension of an agreement with Monaco Cooper LeMay Carr PLLC for general legal counsel to the Albany Water Board. Now therefore be it resolved that the Albany Water Board hereby exercises the second final extension of the terms of agreement with Monaco Cooper LeMay and Carr. And I want to personally say how much all of us appreciate everything you've done for us.
thanks for giving me the opportunity.
It really been terrific.
Yeah.
Thank you. So I move approval.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Fine.
Resolution number 2598, resolution extending master services agreement with Aqueous Infrastructure Management, also known as AIM, to provide specialty tank services. Now therefore be it resolved that the Albany Water Board hereby authorizes the third and final extension of the MSA with Aqueous Infrastructure Management to provide specialty tank services.
I like their old name, Waterworks.
I know, Underwater
Underwater
Solutions.
Solutions, yeah, it was great. I move approval.
I'll second it.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Resolution number 2599, resolution awarding contract to Capital Safety Services, Inc. Now therefore be it resolved that the Albany Water Board hereby awards the RFP, which was defined in the resolution, and the chairman is hereby authorized to execute an agreement with Capital Safety Services, Inc.
Again, they've done a wonderful job for us. I move approval.
I'll second it.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion.
Resolution number 25100, resolution classifying acquisition of Hickey property as a type 1 action and declaring the intent of the Albany Water Board to be lead agency for purposes of a coordinated review pursuant to the State Environmental Quality Review Act. Yeah, this is a long one. Now therefore be it resolved as follows. 1, the Albany Water Board hereby classifies the action of the acquisition of the property as type 1 action. And 2, as a consequence of the foregoing, the Albany Water Board hereby declares its intent to act as lead agency with respect to coordinated agency review of the action pursuant to SECRA. 3, the Albany Water Board shall cause to be distributed of its notice of intent to be lead agency and is hereby authorized to take such actions or delegate such actions as are necessary and appropriate to assist the Albany Water Board in fulfilling the requirements under SECRA for the action and work with its consultants in connections therewith. 4, a copy of this resolution shall be placed on file with the Albany Water Board where the same shall be available for public inspection during business hours. And 5, this resolution shall take effect immediately. The board has heard of the Hickey parcel. This is an property that we're seeking to acquire with WQIP funds. This parcel is over 100 acres, which puts us in a type 1 action. And we've been working with Labella on coordinating the lead agency review. So this will hopefully pass by the board and then be sent over to Labella to do what they need. Yeah.
Amy's very happy about this.
Yes, this is a good one.
I recommend we approve it.
I'll second it.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. We're almost there.
Yes. Resolution number 25101, resolution authorizing chairman to execute easement in favor of NIMO or National Grid, or Delaware Ave, Town of Bethlehem, Albany County. Now therefore be it resolved that the Albany Water Board hereby authorizes the chairman to execute all documents necessary and convenient to enter into the permanent easement and grant easement rights over the premises to Niagara Mohawk Power Corporation to access the Ellesmere substation.
Good. We talked about this earlier.
Yes.
I move we approve.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion
Aye.
carried.
Resolution number 25102, resolution authorizing disbursement to Cerity Partners for quarterly investment advisory services in the amount of $2,500. Now therefore be it resolved that the Albany Water Board authorizes payment to Cerity Partners in the amount of $2,500 for quarterly investment advisory services for the periods of October 1st, 2025 through December 31st, 2025, annexed here to as Appendix A.
Been on the board 11 years. This is the third name of this firm.
Oh, yeah.
I'm gonna ask, what happened? How did they?
They merged with
It was a
another.
merger.
Oh, is that what it was?
Yeah.
Okay.
I move we approve.
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Resolution number 25103, resolution approving change order number 3 to Beaver Creek Flow Management and Inflow Reduction Project with WMJ Keller and Sons Construction Corp. to increase the contract amount by $146,581.58. Now therefore be it resolved that the Albany Water Board approves change order number 3 annexed here to as Appendix A to the Beaver Creek Flow Management and Inflow Reduction Project with WMJ Keller and Sons Construction Corp., increasing the contract amount by $146,581.58. The new contract amount is $3,244,585.42. There is no change to the original contract completion date of November 1st, 2025.
Appendix A made this really clear why they needed to do it. So I recommend we approve.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Thank you.
Resolution number 25104, resolution approving change order LM-G-04 to Furabush Water Filtration Plant Lime and Maintenance Building General Contract with AMZ Construction Services, Inc. to increase the contract amount by $88,937.43. Now therefore be it resolved that the Albany Water Board approves change order LM-G-04 annexed here to as Appendix A to the Furabush Water Filtration Plant Lime and Maintenance Building under that general contract with AMZ Construction Services, Inc., increasing the contract amount by $88,937.43. The new contract amount is $1,281,549.98. There is no change to the original contract completion date of January 17th, 2026.
Again, it's very well explained. So I move we approve.
I'll second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carried. Thank you. We now need to go into an executive session.
Yes, we have an issue for executive session for potential litigation.
Yes.
They have a motion to approve going into executive session.
I'll second that. I'll show.
All in favor? Aye. For executive session, we're going to turn this. Okay.
And,
All right, this is still. And with that, if there's no other new business, I'd like a motion to adjourn.
Your next meeting dates?
Hmm?
And that's your next meeting dates?
Oh, right,
Oh, the next meeting date is
Jen.
January 23rd. The full board will meet at 9. The governance committee will meet at 8:30. The finance committee will meet at 8:45. And I have a feeling both those committees will be a little longer than 15 minutes. It's all right. So now may I have a motion to approve? And before we vote on it, I want to say one last thing about Joe. You're the best manager I've ever worked with. Mean that from the bottom of my heart. You're super excited. Thank you. I have a motion to adjourn. So second. All right.